Hey, it's Meg. Welcome back to my channel. So today's junk journal with me, we're going to be tackling days 24 and 25 from the junk journal July prompts. So the prompts for these days are ephemeral and tea-dyed. So I thought this would be a good example of merging two prompts where you've got one that is very literal, tea-dyed. So that's, very much you can visualize what sort of technique you might do with that versus something a bit more abstract of ephemeral. So I know that like ephemera is a big thing that we all talk about, but I thought it would be good to pop it in as a prompt because you can still take it in different ways. So if you just wanted to use the opportunity to like make some ephemera for your pages or to use bits of papers that you collect in everyday life, like receipts and tickets and things like that, then I think that's a good opportunity. But as I was thinking about what I wanted to do, I was looking at the definition and the whole concept of ephemeral being like, only for like a short period of time. And so I ended up including a quote that I actually got from one of my books that I have on my shelves, like for collaging. And oh no, I think it's actually a poem rather than a quote, but it had a perfect line about time, and I just thought it was a really good addition for that. And there was a portion that said, "Tick the clock says, tick tick tick. What you have to do, do quick. Time is running fast away." And I just thought that that was the perfect thing to include for a prompt like this because the time is going to pass anyway. Like, look, we're on day 25 already of the challenge. Like, the month has just gone really really fast, and so I think I was just thinking a lot about that, like where did July go? It seems to have gone really fast. And so, yeah, that's what I ended up having as my theme, I guess, for this page. And I started by building up the background with just like lots of different scraps. This kind of felt like, when you're not really sure where it's going, but it's not going well. Like, you really have to trust the process here, I think. Like, this is not one of my favorite pages from this journal, but I think that's just something that happens with a challenge like this when you have, the 31 days of showing up to create something. You're not gonna like every single one, like they're not all going to be like all-time favorites. And so yeah, this is probably not one of my finer moments within this journal, but necessary nonetheless, I think, for just the process in general. And especially with journals like this, I'm always trying to think of things that I can still take away, things that I've learned or things that I think, well, even if I don't like the direction that that went in, I could actually try it again, but instead do something different. Do you know what I mean? So there's always things I think you can still take from having this sort of practice, especially with the monthly challenge. So yeah, it's an interesting spread. I think it was because I was forcing myself as well to try and cover the sort of one and a half spreads almost. So doing like three of the pages because I was conscious that I wanted to still fill up this journal. So maybe that's what was playing in the back of my mind, and maybe I just didn't like the fact that it was extending so much on the page. It kind of felt a little bit separate, even though I did use the tea dyeing prompt to try and have some cohesiveness. So I just used that across the entirety of everything that I was working on, and I do really find that that helps to bring some cohesion to whatever I'm working on. I love the different areas where it like pools and you get like the darker spots and things. So it's just a really easy way to add some character, to add some depth, and of course have that like vintage vibe that I like in my journals. And so yeah, it's something that I do in probably every single one of my journals. It'll have some sort of tea or maybe coffee on it, and it just gives a warmth, I think, as well to a page. Sometimes if things are feeling a little bit stark, just adding that wash, even if it's only a light layer and it's not taking over the page, it just gives it something, I think, that really helps to bring a page together that I'm working on. So I did try and stick to my, neutral pink colour palette that I'm working with. So I think in that way that helped to make things not go completely off the rails in terms of all the different things that I was using for this collage, because I think it felt a little bit busy is what it was, because I had the collage already that was from the brown paper piece, so maybe that's where I was going wrong, and there was just too many like bits across the page. But I still think that it was something that I enjoyed doing still. Like, I enjoyed the process. I think that's half the thing that we have to remember. Like, we got to enjoy actually doing it. Like, it's not just the fact that you have the finished result. So yeah, I did enjoy putting this together still, and thinking about what I wanted to use for the page. So it's always really interesting with the composition of a page, how when you can add just one thing to it and things feel like they come together a bit more. Like, once I'd added this piece of book paper here with the text that I wanted to use for the ephemeral prompt, I just felt a lot more at peace with how the page looked. And I think it was because I had broken up that busy background and had some negative space, but also had a bit more of a focal point. And so I was actually really pleased in the end with how the background turned out, considering it was quite busy and I was like struggling with the process of putting it together. And what I actually decided to do was highlight the text that I specifically wanted from this little piece. So I circled it with just one of my black uni pin fine liners, and then I pushed back the words that, not that I didn't want them to show because you can still see them, but they just kind of faded into the background a bit. So just with some watered down white acrylic paint, and then also brought in some more of the tea dyeing there just to help it not look so stark on the page once I'd added it. And I think adding that final touch really helped to bring everything together for this page. And yeah, it was really subtle the way that I pushed back the text, but I just think it helped to have that focal point and to have the piece that I really wanted as part of the page to stand out. So that was my page for merging the two of these prompts for Junk Journal July. I hope you've been enjoying the Junk Journal with me's. We're so close to the end of the challenge. Like, I can't believe that it is next week is the end of the challenge, but there's still loads of amazing prompts to go. And of course, don't forget we do have the collaboration. So if you have missed any of the days and you want to catch up with the creators that have been sharing their videos for each day, as always, the link to the playlist will be in the description box, so definitely check that out.